Hi and welcome from a somewhat damp Glasgow airport this morning, where I'll be flying with Loganair on one of their Twin Otter aircraft across the short leg to Campbeltown. Now it's my first time flying in the Twin Otter, so I'm really looking forward to trying out a new aircraft type. But a short flight, the weather's not the best today, but I'm hoping we'll still get some good views and it won't be too bumpy. But I hope you enjoy the video. Thanks so much for watching. Let's go.
Despite the early hour, I was quite surprised at how quiet the check-in area was, given that there were a number of departures before my 8 AM flight, but I could only see a few desks open. Although I'd already checked in online with the Loganair app, this was my first time using it, so I wanted to ensure that I had a paper pass just in case there were any issues, so I paid a quick visit to the Loganair check-in desk. This was only my second flight with Loganair, my first being one of their farewell flights that they put on as part of the retirement celebrations for their Saab 340 aircraft, and you can watch the video for that by clicking on the link in the description below. The check-in agent was very helpful, and after a few moments I was on my way with the boarding pass in hand. Sadly, I didn't have any fast-track security for this flight, so it was a quick scan through the regular security lane, which turned out to be reasonably busy, probably with the passengers from all those other flights. Once through security, I decided to grab some breakfast. If I was flying with BA, I'd usually grab something in the lounge, but since that wasn't an option today and I couldn't justify stumping up the £40 required to access the women's lounge without a priority pass, I decided to try out Bird and Signet. As you'd probably expect from any airport restaurant, prices were at the high end, but the selection and offer seemed to be good enough to appeal to most tastes. It's a nice space and the staff seemed friendly despite the early hour, but I have to say that I found the food underwhelming and I'd probably stick with one of the other food outlets next time. After I'd finished breakfast, I decided to head along to the gate area to see if I could get a good view of my aircraft, taking a little shortcut on the way. I managed to spot this other Loganair aircraft, an ATR 42, which was due to head to Eilidh around the same time as my Campbeltown flight, and I was also able to get a glimpse of the Twin Otter off in the distance. I'd be departing from Gate 4 for today's flight, which is along in the East Pier. This pier is mainly used for flight from the low-cost carriers as well as some Loganair destinations, and I have to say it feels a little bit run down and in need of some modernisation compared to the rest of the airport. On the plus side, it does offer some great views, and I was able to see my aircraft for today, this 44-year-old de Havilland Canada Twin Otter, which has been in Loganair's possession since 1994 and is used mainly under Campbeltown, Barra and Tiree routes. It's worn a few different paint schemes during that time, but is now painted in Loganair's own tartan scheme. As it wasn't long until boarding was due to start, I made my way downstairs to Gate 4 and its tiny waiting area. Given that Loganair only sell a maximum of 15 seats in these flights, I don't expect that this area ever gets too busy. Once the other 3 passengers for this morning's flight had arrived, we headed outside for a short walk to the aircraft. Other than a brief trip in a Piper Cherokee when I was about 9 years old, this was going to be the smallest commercial aircraft I'd ever been on, so I was really looking forward to the experience. Approaching the aircraft, I was asked by the first officer if I could move back a row from 3A to 4A, which I'm assuming was to better balance the load of the aircraft. As I boarded with the built-in steps, I realised just how compact the interior of this aircraft was, and I couldn't really stand fully upright because of the low ceiling. The seats are very narrow, so much so that only about 3/4 of my ample backside were actually on the seat, but I'm glad it's only used in a route with a flight time of around an hour or less. There are no cabin crew in these aircraft, so the safety briefing was carried out by the first officer. With everyone on board and all the safety checks completed, the captain powered up our engines and reversed the aircraft from stand before beginning our taxi over to runway 23. One of the major benefits of flying in smaller aircraft such as these is the opportunity to see into the cockpit, and if you crane your neck a bit or are sitting in one of the middle seats near the front, you can even get a look out of the cockpit window. If you'd like to see an unedited video of the full flight, I'll be posting a link to that in the description below. Our route for today's flight would take us initially west out towards the Firth of Clyde before turning south over Reeves Bay and flying down over the Isle of Arran, turning west once again for our approach into Campbeltown's runway 29. After a very short takeoff roll, we were soon climbing through the rain into the clouds above. If you're enjoying the video, please hit the like button and leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you get notified when new videos are released. Sadly, the bad weather meant that we were denied good views of the landscape below, but before too long we were above the clouds and at least were able to enjoy some blue skies. We had a bit of turbulence as we were starting to pass over Arran, but on the plus side we managed to get a glimpse of Brodick below us through the clouds. That's the only downside to flying in these smaller aircraft. You certainly tend to feel the lumps and bumps a bit more than you would in something bigger like an Airbus A320. Before too long, we were starting our descent back down into the layer of clouds as we began our approach to Campbeltown's runway 29. Our final approach to the runway was quite bumpy, and you can probably see from the video that the aircraft was bouncing about a fair bit. It was all in a day's work for our excellent pilots though, and we still had a smooth touchdown at Campbeltown Airport. As is often the case with smaller airports, there is no separate taxiway in operation here, so we simply did a 180-degree turn and taxied back down the runway. Pulling up in front of the terminal building, this, my first flight on a Twin Otter, was sadly coming to an end. It was another great flight with Loganair, and while it came with its fair share of bumps along the way, it was still a really enjoyable flight. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. And if you have, don't forget to hit the like button and leave me a comment. It really helps with YouTube promoting my videos to other viewers.